3 weeks ago, I sat here and told you my prediction was that LSAC was going to come back and recalculate everybody. And today, in a way, they did. They actually pulled the whole policy. The rule they announced on July 28th that stopped counting your high school college courses towards your law school GPA, that policy is now dead until summer of next year. They delayed everything by an entire year. Now, I'm recording this today because there's a question I raised on this channel 3 weeks ago that LSAC has now had 3 weeks to answer, and today's announcement still doesn't answer it. And if you're one of the people caught in the middle, that unanswered question is your problem, not theirs. But first, a quick catch up for anyone who missed things over the past couple of weeks. On July 28th, LSAC announced they were stopping their counting of college level courses that you took while you were in high school towards your LSAC GPA. They stopped counting them. So dual enrollment, dual credit, whatever your high school called it, they killed that with no advance notice effective that day. But then today, August 18th, LSAC published a blog post delaying that change to summer of 2027. And so for this cycle, long story short, dual enrollment grades count for anyone applying to law school this fall. Same as they have for many years. Starting with the 2027 to 2028 cycle, they come out, and that covers everybody in that cycle, including reapplicants from previous years. That's the news, that's the short version, but now I want to go deeper and do the part no one else is going to do. Let's talk about what I got right and what I got wrong. 3 weeks ago, the problem I pointed out was this. LSAC had created two classes of applicant inside one cycle. Whether your dual enrollment grades counted depended on the date LSAC happened to process your transcript. And I said that policy wasn't really survivable because imagine you put yourself in the Dean of Admissions chair. It's November, you've got 4,000 files, and the GPA field on the CAS report is the field your entire process runs on. It's what your model reads, it's what your median target is measured in. And in the spring, you've got to report a median to the ABA and defend it to the provost. Now, you cannot defend a median that depends on which formula happened to show up in your pool. And so I said LSAC comes back and recalculates everybody. Now, I assumed they'd recalculate everybody going forward onto the new rule and take the hit for a rough summer. Instead, they went backward. They reversed themselves. So everyone in this cycle gets the old calculation, and the new rule waits a year. Now, between July 28th and August 18th, transcripts kept getting processed. For 21 days, if your file went through, your dual enrollment grades came out of your GPA. That's the rule that was live. And people sent transcripts in that window and their numbers changed. Now, LSAC says all applicants in each cycle will have their LSAC GPAs calculated the same way as one another, which strongly implies they're going to pull those 21 days back onto the old rule. But I want to be precise here because a lot of confident wrong information is going to circulate on Reddit about this in the next couple days. LSAC has not published the mechanics of the details for who was affected during these 21 days, and they have not published when they're going to recalculate things. They haven't said if you got to do anything about it. And what they've published is their general principle around how they're going to orient themselves this cycle, not the particulars or the details. And so today, of course, applicants affected were calling up LSAC representatives, asking whether their own transcript has been recalculated. And of course, the reps didn't know either. So the question from 3 weeks ago that still isn't answered is this. I found something on LSAC's own site that raised a question about whether a recalculation even reaches the law schools that already have your file, because LSAC ships your report to every school you apply to. And once that report is transmitted, it's sitting inside that school system. And so if your number gets fixed in LSAC's database in September, the question is, does that corrected number travel to a school that already pulled your file in August? Does the school get a new report? Do they get a notice? Or does the old number just sit in their system being the number they read while a different number lives on LSAC's site? A couple of weeks ago, that was just a hypothetical, but today it's real, which is even more confusing. Because under the old rule, being fixed meant a school might see a slightly lower GPA than it first received. Under today's reversal, though, some people got their GPA calculated during that 21-day window and they're now getting it put back. Which means if a correction doesn't travel, a school could be sitting on a version of you that is worse than the real one. And you'd have no way of knowing because you wouldn't know what they received. And LSAC's blog post today doesn't really touch on this. It's just an unanswered question that we need to resolve at some point. And so what you want to do this week is first pull up your CAS academic summary. CAS, by the way, is the Credential Assembly Service. It's LSAC's admissions product. It shows in the summary the number of semester hours that went into your GPA calculation. You want to count the hours on your undergraduate transcript by themselves. And if LSAC's number is bigger than your undergrad only number, that means your dual enrollment credits are in there. If they match, they're not. Takes you a couple minutes and it'll tell you which version is on file right now. Second thing, this is not a small number of people, but it's important because you're the ones being affected. If you submitted a transcript between July 28th and August 18th, and it came back without those credits, you want to call LSAC ASAP. You want to email them, get it in writing, and ask, will the corrected report be retransmitted to schools that already received the old one? And of course, keep records, document everything like the future lawyer that you are. And of course, the read on the rule is this. Under the old rule, dual enrollment credits count. Under the new rule, they no longer count. And so if your high school grades are worse than your undergrad grades, the new rule is going to help you. So maybe if there's a huge difference and you also want some more time to get your LSAT score up, you should wait and apply next cycle instead of this one. Again, if your dual enrollment grades are bad, you want to sit things out here. If that logic works for you, of course, it works for every other applicant with weak dual enrollment grades also. All of them are going to get the same bump in the same cycle on the same day. And of course, a GPA is not scored against a fixed line. It's scored against the median, and the median is built out of the other people in the pool. If you lift up a whole segment of the pool, the bar gets raised along with that. And so my read is that the personal gain from waiting is maybe less than it might look, and there is a cost to waiting as well, because it's another year of lawyer income you're never earning at the far end. And we don't know what next cycle's volume is going to look like. Know that, of course, the stakes are real and real numbers. NYU Law's 25th percentile, for example, is a 381, and that's the exact reported median at 7 different law schools. And so a few hundredths genuinely move you across lines that matter. I'm not saying GPA is nothing. I'm saying don't wait a year of your life for a decimal that shifts for your entire cohort at once. If your dual enrollment grades are genuinely brutal, of course, if it's a full letter grade dragging your number a real distance down, and you were already lukewarm about applying this cycle, that's a conversation worth having. But don't take it lightly. And what you can do more to get your application as strong as possible, to get your numbers up significantly rather than the GPA for just dual enrollment, is your LSAT. Your LSAT score weighs more heavily than your entire undergraduate GPA, much more than just a couple of dual enrollment high school grades. If you want my help getting your LSAT score up, I'm happy to help you out. I'm offering free LSAT tutoring for everybody watching this now or later. You can book that free LSAT tutoring lesson with me personally at unpluggedprep.com/start. The link is below the video on YouTube, pinned in the chat on YouTube, in my bio on TikTok and IG. I've also put together a free LSAT cheat sheet to help you jumpstart your LSAT prep. It's a quick reference PDF on everything logical reasoning and reading comp. You can grab that at unpluggedprep.com/cheat sheet. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best. Take care. Thanks for joining.